Hello West Ham fans, I'm Chris Scott, I'm a lifelong West Ham fan myself. I'm the presenter on match days at the London Stadium and I am here in my finest away shirt from the Sam Allardyce era to be your quiz master for this evening's #Hammers at Home pub quiz. And tonight we bring you episode 3. Yes, we've been recommissioned again, meaning our run has lasted longer than some West Ham Cup runs in the last few seasons. And speaking of cups, this past weekend marked the anniversary of our 1964 and 1975 FA Cup final victories, so we've got a bit of an FA Cup theme running through tonight's quiz. And as always, we've got 5 rounds for you, so stay away from the search engines. Let's delve deep into the depths of your West Ham United knowledge. Let's go. But before we get into the thick of the West Ham quiz action, let's just take a quick look at our leaderboard from last week. Some various scores here from people who sent in their final scores via social media, and some magnificent names and magnificent scores there. If you want to make it onto our leaderboard next week, do let us know how you get on this week. Tweet us, Facebook us, comment on YouTube, whatever you like, and who knows, you could see yourself on this famous leaderboard next week. And let's start with round 1. Now, round 1 is a video round. We've gone back through the FA Cup archives and we want you to watch 10 clips, and all you have to do is tell us who scored the goal. Really simple. Who scored the goal? Round 1, video round, FA Cup archives. Let's go. Okay, it's time for the answers for round 1. You've got to give yourself a point for each one you get correct. So, our first goal was scored by teenager John Sissons, the opening goal of the 1964 FA Cup final win over Preston at Wembley. If you didn't get number 2, log off now. It was, of course, Adrian Adrian scoring his first world-famous penalty against Everton in January 2015. Goal 3 was Ray Stewart's last-minute penalty in the quarter-final win over Aston Villa in 1980. Goal 4 was Geoff Hurst, who scored a hat-trick in our fourth-round replay win over Hereford, ruining Ronnie Radford's Valentine's Day in 1972. The fifth clip showed Alicia Lehmann scoring our goal in the FA Cup semi-final against Reading in 2019. West Ham went on to win on penalties to reach the final good work goals. Clip 6 was the unforgettable night Angelo Ogbonna rose into the East London sky to send Liverpool packing at Upton Park in February 2016. And let's all do the Barthez in clip 7. Yes, it was Paolo Di Canio embarrassing Manchester United in 2001. Rumours that Fabian Barthez is still stood there with his arm in the air. Clip 8, slightly less memorable, but it's Diafra Sakho scoring at Bristol City in January 2015. Number 9 was Bobby Gould diving to head past Southampton in January 1975, setting us down the road to Wembley. Bobby, of course, celebrated being an unused substitute in that final by wearing claret and blue painted policeman's hat. Of course he did. And finally, it was Dimitri Payet who slithered through the Blackburn Rovers defence to score this amazing goal in February 2016. Okay, that's your lot for who scored the FA Cup goal. Some absolute classics there. We'll be back in a few moments for round 2. Okay, so let's take a look. Here's the first. I've got a clue for you. This chap headed down to Wembley in May 1964, and here's the second Wikipedia career history. Liverpool, Billericay Town and not Jermaine Pennant. Have a think about that one. Anyway, here's the third. And for that third one, I think it would be fair to say that chap produced arguably the best, most awful shot in the 1980 FA Cup final. That's a bit of a clue. Anyway, here's the fourth. An oldie but a goodie there. And finally, here's the fifth Wikipedia career history. Some absolute classics in there. I'm going to give you a few seconds to finalise your answers and I will put you out of your misery. So the name the player from his Wikipedia history. Answers are as follows. Again, give yourself a point for each one you get right. Answers number 1 is of course Ronnie Boyce, our 1964 FA Cup match winner, 1965 European Cup Winners' Cup winner and 2019 Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Answer number 2 is the man who scored from the touchline in the 2006 FA Cup final and is now a part of the academy coaching staff, Paul Konchesky. Answer number 3 is Stuart Pearson, the England international whose awful shot was headed in expertly by Trevor Brooking in the 1980 FA Cup final. Answer number 4 is George Kay, that is a tough one, who captained the Hammers in their 1923 FA Cup final win against, or defeat against Bolton Wanderers. Obviously, we lost 2-0 fortune's always hiding, and all that. And finally, answer number 5 is the incomparable, peerless Billy Bonds, who captained us to FA Cup glory in 1975 and in 1980. We'll be back in a jiffy with round 3. And it's on to round 3, which is Hammers General Knowledge. I know lots of you found this difficult last week, so we've tried making it a little bit easier in places. Let's see how you get on. Do let us know in the comments below. And let's begin with question 1 of round 3. How many FA Cup ties have West Ham played in the club's 125-year history? I'm going to give you 3 options. So how many FA Cup ties have West Ham played? Is it 402, 343 or 287? I'll give you those options again. How many FA Cup ties have West Ham played in the club's 125-year history? Is it 402, 343 or 287? There are your 3 options. Pick one and good luck. Question 2. Which individual player has made more FA Cup appearances for West Ham than anyone else? That's question 2. Which individual player has made more FA Cup appearances for West Ham than any other West Ham player? There's obviously a few names have come up already, but which individual player has made more FA Cup appearances for West Ham than any other? Okay. Question 3. Continuing that theme of the FA Cup, which player scored more FA Cup goals for the Hammers than anyone else? And I'm told that this is actually quite easy if you think about it. Bit of a clue. Which player scored more FA Cup goals for the Hammers than anyone else? That's question 3. Question 4. Fast forward to the present and who scored our most recent FA Cup goal? That's question 4. If we go right up to the present day, who scored our most recent FA Cup goal? Question 5. Paolo Di Canio scored our 4th round winner at Manchester United in January 2001, but who scored our winning goal in the 5th round at Sunderland 3 weeks later? I'm pretty sure the answer to this was up front with Paolo Di Canio that day at Manchester United at Old Trafford in January 2001, but I'll repeat the question. Paolo Di Canio scored our 4th round winner at Manchester United in January 2001, but who scored our winning goal in the 5th round at Sunderland 3 weeks later? Question 6. Who did West Ham beat in the FA Cup 3rd round in both 2005 and 2006? That's question 6. We drew the same team in the FA Cup 3rd round in both 2005 and 2006. Beat them both times. Which team was it? Who did we beat in the FA Cup 3rd round in both 2005 and 2006? And question 7. Which player made his West Ham debut in our 3rd round win over Birmingham City at London Stadium in January 2019? That's question 7. Which player made his West Ham debut in our 3rd round win over Birmingham City at London Stadium in January 2019? And question 8. Sticking with debuts, which South American striker made his one and only first team appearance at Sheffield Wednesday in January 2012? That's sticking with that theme of debuts. Which South American striker made his one and only first team appearance for West Ham at Sheffield Wednesday in January 2012? Question 9. Which Nottingham Forest player did Tony Gale foul when he was controversially sent off in the 1991 semi-final at Villa Park? That's question 9. Which Nottingham Forest player did Tony Gale foul when he was controversially sent off in the 1991 FA Cup semi-final at Villa Park by Keith Hackett? Boo. So which player did Tony Gale foul in that 1991 semi-final? And question 10 to finish. Mark Noble has only scored 3 FA Cup goals in his West Ham United career. Can you name the 3 clubs he scored against? You need all 3 to get that single point. This is so tough. To finish, Mark Noble has scored 3 FA Cup goals in his West Ham United career. Don't forget, he does take penalties. Name the 3 clubs he scored them against, and you need all 3 to get your point. We'll be back in a second with the answers. All right, it is time for the answers for round 3. Got to give yourself a point for each correct answer. Here we go. So the answer to how many FA Cup games West Ham have played is 343. Shockingly, Billy Bonds has made more FA Cup appearances for West Ham than anyone else with 48. Answer number 3 was Vic Watson, our all-time leading marksman, scored 28 of his 326 career goals for the Irons in the FA Cup. Pablo Fornals scored our most recent FA Cup goal when he netted in injury time in our third round win at Gillingham in January. And answer number 5, up front with Paolo, I believe, in January 2001 against Manchester United, he kept his place and scored the winner in the 5th round at Sunderland in February 2001. So answer number 5, Freddie Canute. Answer number 6 is Norwich City. And our debutant in the 3rd round win over Birmingham in January 2019 was Samir Nasri. Remember him? I hope he's having a good quarantine. Answer number 8 was the Paraguayan Brian Montenegro, who debuted at Sheffield Wednesday in January 2012. Number 9 is Gary Crosby. Keith Hackett, I can officially confirm you still haven't been forgiven for that red card. And finally, answer 10 is a 3-parter. So, Mark Noble's 3 FA Cup goals were scored against Brighton in 2007, then penalties against Barnsley and Hartlepool in 2009. So, answer number 10, the 3 parts are, he scored against Brighton, Barnsley and Hartlepool. And if you've got that right, you really are a West Ham fan. We'll be back for round 4, so why not grab a drink and we'll see you shortly. Round 4 is a picture round that we call Trading Places. We've gone through the draws, dug out 8 trading cards from our collections, and we want to know, as always, the name of the player and the team we signed them from. So obviously we've skillfully edited out the player's name, so you're going to have to guess that yourself, but we also need the team they signed from. So here are the trading cards. We'll give you a couple of minutes to study them and have a chat with your friends, your family, your pets, your neighbours, your window cleaners, whoever else you live or work with. Note down your answers and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Best thing about this quiz is seeing the mugshots of some of those ghosts from West Ham years of yonder. Here are the answers. Starting top left, the man with claret and blue hair. At one time it's Javier Margas, who doesn't have that claret and blue rinse in that particular photo, but the Chilean defender joined us from Universidad Católica. Yes, I can confirm I've never heard of them either, in 1998. Card number 2 is defender Simon Webster, who we snapped up from Charlton in 1993. Now, a little known fact about Simon is that he returned to the club as physio after he was forced to retire through injury. Answer number 3, Guy Demel, the Ivory Coast defender who joined the Irons from Hamburg in 2011. Number 4 is Guy's teammate Julien Faubert, who we signed from Le Havre in 2007 and was nicknamed the high-speed train for his searing pace. Card number 5 is Andre Ayew, who we signed from Swansea City, then sold him back to them later on. Andre Ayew is card number 5. Number 6 is Matty Taylor, who joined the Big Sam revolution in 2011 when he arrived from Bolton Wanderers. Card number 7 is a young Alan Kirbishley, while number 8 is George Paris, who both came through the academy ranks. Got to remember, some of these can come through the academy. Okay, give yourself a point for each player and a point for each club you got right. And last, but by no means least, it's round 5, which is Who Am I? We give you 4 clues. You need to name the individual with West Ham connections. And don't forget, it can be a player, a manager, a famous fan, or someone with a tenuous link to the Hammers. Give yourself 4 points if you get his or her name after the first clue, 3 points if you get it after the second clue, 2 points if you get it after the third clue, and 1 point if it takes you all 4 clues to work out their identity. So, let's begin. Clue number 1. I was born in Ilford in 1940. So that's clue number 1, long before the exchange was built. I was born in Ilford in 1940. So if you get it after that, give yourself 4 points. Clue number 2. I played for West Ham in an FA Youth Cup final. That's clue 2. I played for West Ham United in an FA Youth Cup final. So born in Ilford 1940, played for West Ham United in the FA Youth Cup final. If you get it after that, give yourself 3 points. And now here comes clue 3. I served on Ron Greenwood's coaching staff in the 1960s. So clue number 3, I served on Ron Greenwood's coaching staff in the 1960s. So we know he's born in Ilford in 1940, played for West Ham United in an FA Youth Cup final, and served on Ron Greenwood's coaching staff in the 1960s. And finally, the 4th clue. I managed the Hammers to FA Cup glory in 1975 and 1980. And if it took you that clue, give yourself 1 point. I'm going to give you a couple more seconds to write down your answer before I reveal. The answer is, of course, our late great manager, John Lyall. So do please add up your scores, and your total should be out of 45. And please do let us know how you got on. Anything over 35 suggests you're an official West Ham historian, but anything over 30 is equally very good. Let us know on YouTube in the comments or any social media platform aligned to West Ham. Let us know your score, and who knows, you could be on the leaderboard next week. And if you feel like giving a little bit back, then I want to tell you about the DT38 Foundation, which was founded by the family of Dylan Tombides after the sad death of the West Ham United striker at the age of 20 in 2014. The charity has launched the 380 appeal to secure funding for its future. You can donate £3.80 or £380 if you like to fund the fight against male cancers by visiting the DT38 funding appeal online or clicking on the link in this story. Hopefully you found tonight's #Hammers@Home pub quiz a decent test of your West Ham knowledge, and you'll join us next week for episode 4. Thank you for taking part. Can't wait to see you next week. Until then, do stay at home, protect the NHS and save lives. Come on, you Irons.